Do I really need to tell you what Sonic Adventure 2 is? Like, at this point, I think it's probably one of the most well-appreciated and liked Sonic games in the entire franchise, probably right up there with Sonic 2 and a bunch of other games that people are wrong about. Since I've played this game about 432 times, I figured it'd be a little bit redundant for me to talk about it in, like, excruciating detail. So I figured, hey, why not throw some mods into the mix? Because mods are actually this channel's claim to fame from, like, 5 years way back in the day. So mainly, just, some small bug fix things, some momentum stuff here and there. The main thing, though, is Chow World Extended. And if you don't know what the word extended means, if we check the dictionary real quick, it means that something is bigger. And honestly, it's basically like a full DLC for the Chow Garden of SA2, and I think that's pretty neato, because it was already good to begin with. This is going to be a two-part project, though. We're going to cover mainly Sonic Adventure 2 in this part, and then next time we're going to talk about Chow, because there is a lot to say there. So I hope you'll stick with my antics throughout both of these parts, and without further ado, let's get to another episode of Oh God, I'm trapped in the basement, forced to make Sonic content for the rest of my life.
I thought that capsule you were in exploded in space.
I love this game. I love this game so much, and I think it actually gets pretty much just the right amount of praise for the amount of jank that's still present. And even though I like how Sonic Adventure 1 controls a little bit more, I think I prefer Sonic Adventure 2's presentation for visuals. I like some of the music better. I think the story is a whole hell of a lot better, even though Chaos is the GOAT. And of course, SA1's Chow Garden walked so that SA2's Chow Garden could, jovially roll until you fall into the nearby pond and drown to death. That was actually my main reason for wanting to play SA2 again, actually. I wanted to get back into the Chow Garden, raise some hell in the story mode, and then raise some adorable little creatures on the side. It's funny, a lot of people, myself included, kind of complain when Sonic starts going slow and isn't about going fast and platforming, doing all this fun mumbo-jumbo. But the Chow Garden is like the perfect distraction from the main campaign of this game. And I guess the difference there is that, some of the later games are like slow and boring during the main campaign and there's nothing to distract you from that. But this one has high stakes, fun action and gameplay in the story mode, and then the cute little babos on the other side. I think we're going to start with gameplay this time around because it's the most important part of the game, of course, and it is split into 3 sections with a couple little side things here and there. Section 1, we have the speed characters. We have Sonic and newcomer Shadow the Hedgehog, who is really, really cool and I like a lot, and I hope nothing bad ever happens to him. These guys perform mostly like Sonic did in Sonic Adventure 1, except it feels a little more... It's hard to say. I guess it's a bit more precise, a little bit less floaty. So that's, I really like doing, spin dash jumps off of ramps in the first Sonic Adventure. So Sonic Adventure 2, there's a little bit less of that, but also the level design is also a lot tighter and a lot more satisfying just for this gameplay style. So, with that in mind, I guess this was designed a little bit better than Sonic Adventure in that regard. This is where I find the most fun in the entire game, aside from the Chow Garden, of course. And there are some mods out there, like SA2 Good Edition, that even remove all the other characters and let you just play through the game as Sonic and Shadow. That is probably not the best way to do it, because you're missing out on a lot of other fun stuff, because there are some fun things to be had in this game. Unless you don't like repetitive and boring things, like treasure hunting or walking around in a very slow and boring mech suit. Sonic and Shadow can spin dash, they can jump, homing attack, they grind on rails, which is new to this game and has continued through the rest of the series, because they have these, neat little soap shoes for grinding on rails, and then I guess the promotion with those just kind of fell through and they never really called them soap shoes again, but Sonic still grinds, even though his shoes are, completely flat on the bottom. Maybe he just did a lot of grinding and now the shoes have evened out. Sonic and Shadow also get power-ups throughout the campaign. Sonic gets the bounce bracelet and Shadow gets literally nothing even nearly as cool as that. For some reason, Shadow's only got 3 or 4 levels too, and Sonic's got 6 or 7. So I feel like they messed up on the ratio there a little bit. I think Shadow should have had more. The next section of characters we have is those slow and boring mechs I was talking about before, but in this instance, I decided that it would be more fun to install the Better Miles mod, which actually allows Tails to run around outside of his mech suit, and it makes him more along the lines of his SA1 counterpart. And of course it breaks the hell out of every single level he's got, but sometimes that's really fun, and also it cuts down on the amount of things that I don't like about the game. Again, I'm not explicitly reviewing SA2 as it stands, because I've played it so many times that I just don't want to. This is my ideal SA2, I guess, as much as I can make it. I'm gonna put a link to all of the mods I mentioned in this video, by the way, in the comments below, so make sure to check that out if you want to play as these things, because I really recommend it. Because on the other hand of the mech side, we have Eggman, who actually makes sense being in a mech. This is the first time you're able to play as Eggman in a main story game, and it actually makes a lot of sense that he's running around in a mech because he's obviously not a super-powered individual, so him blasting things with a cannon is pretty cool. I just kind of wish they'd leaned more into Eggman's previous robot design, so they could have had Eggman flying around in the Eggomatic, or they could have had him use the Wrecking Ball, or the Drill Car, or hell, maybe like for the final boss, they could have thrown in like the Death Egg robot. Maybe you could play as that would be really cool for like a future title if you could ever play as Eggman again, like, ooh. Supersonic and Death Egg Robot either fighting or working together. Without the help of the physics swap mod, though, I find the mechs to be very annoying and tedious to play as because they are very slow compared to Sonic and Shadow. I really like the approach that some of the classic games take in making the secondary characters basically Sonic except different movesets. Like, you know, in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, let's say, Tails and Knuckles are pretty much Sonic except, like, maybe slightly slower, and Knuckles has the jump handicap because he can climb walls. I think that works a lot better than just having, like, completely different characters that just control entirely different, because it really adds, like, I don't know, like, I can easily put Sonic and Shadow in S tier, but Eggman is down there in E tier. And now I'm just grouping them by the first letter of their names. Last, and certainly least, we have the Treasure Hunters, who are Knuckles and Rouge the Jiggle Physics. I mean, just look at those ears bounce, guys. I had to say something about it. I think this would probably be the best way to go about mentioning it. But, yeah, no, Rouge's design is obviously an interesting choice for a kid's game, but, you know, I guess we're just gonna roll with it, pretend that everything's okay. Much like in SA1, Knuckles and Rouge will look around for shards of the Master Emerald because of a story reason I'll discuss in just a little bit. And these are the places where I've kind of decided that I don't like them at all. One thing that I really don't like is that the Emerald Radar no longer tracks all 3 emeralds at the same time, because they broke it for some reason. So you could run right by the place where the 2nd or 3rd emerald is and have no idea until you collect the first one, and that is why I'm using the new Fixed Emerald Radar mod that you can download again from the link in the comments. This adds even more, like, features to the Emerald Radar, so, like, it'll show, like, different colors depending on how close you are or how far you are. So I think it increases the range. It also lets you track both the 2nd and 3rd emeralds at the same time, and that helps a lot, because these levels can get a little bit tedious to run around. Things like Aquatic Mine, for example, until you find the air necklace. Oh man, is that just straight up not very entertaining. And gosh, if you don't have the air necklace by the last story, you might want to just replay the game until you find it, because you don't want to do Knuckles' last story mission without the air necklace. Rouge has things like, I think it's called Mad Space, where everything is it's a gigantic map with like funky gravity gimmicks, and it takes forever. Even with this fixed radar thing, it takes a long time, and I just don't want to do it. It's busy work. It feels like busy work until I get to the fun stuff again. Tails and Rouge also have this kart racing minigame where you need to chase after a character, and I used to hate it when I was younger, but now I actually find it to be a lot of fun, and if there was like a full-fledged kart racing game like this that controlled like that, I think it wouldn't be probably well-liked very much, because I think it's a little awkward, but I think it controls awkwardly enough that it sort of loops around to feeling good when you actually get control of it the right way. And you can play that mode in multiplayer if you ever so wanted to, and it has more courses and you can play as all of the characters, which I think is a really nice touch. It's just like another little sign to show that Sega and Sonic Team actually cared back then. You also have stuff like Boss Rush and Level Select mode, which are very self-explanatory. You just end up playing all the bosses back to back, or picking whatever level you want. And with the use of the Character Select Plus mod, you can actually play any level with whatever character you want, which I think is also like a really nice feature that could just work with a lot of things. Though if that was in the vanilla, I think the levels would have had to be changed like drastically for certain characters to get through them. So that makes sense as to why that was not like an integrated feature to begin with. Overall, with the gameplay, I think it's incredibly solid. People give this like the moniker of one of the best Sonic games ever made for a reason. And I think I agree. Like, I think this is probably one of the better Sonic games that's ever existed, but I still like Adventure 1 a little bit more because I think Sonic's just the tiniest bit more fun to control there. But this game's story, you better sit down for this one. You're in for a ride. The last decision you make before you start the game is hero or dark story, and I decided to pick hero story first, and I don't need to justify my decisions to you. High above pseudo San Francisco, there is a helicopter transporting special cargo. It's Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's been arrested for reasons unknown, but you can tack on several murders to that list because he takes out everyone on board and decides to no longer be arrested. Grabbing a wing off the plane and tumbling down to the streets below, we start our game. I almost forgot that I installed the Silver the Hedgehog mod over Sonic, by the way, because Silver wouldn't debut in the series for another 5 years, and frankly, I think that's a huge problem with this game. City Escape is the most iconic and perfect first level in any game ever. I am not going to fight on that. It is just, mwah, chef's kiss perfect. It's just the right length, it has tons of fun set pieces, and the music, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Don't worry about the property damage also, because Sonic got arrested wrongfully, so now we're just even. Once night falls, Sonic is accosted by Bigfoot. But you know, Sonic's a little bit steamed from being fake arrested earlier, so he's not holding anything back. Once Sonic toasts that cryptid, a new character appears above the rubble to recite some poetry, and Sonic is so overcome with emotion that he stands on the ground crying until the cops show up and arrest him yet again. Tails, finding out about this, decides that enough is enough and goes to break Sonic out of prison. And I just have to say real quick, like, we know out of game that Sonic did not kill all those people and destroy all those robots and rob that jewelry store or whatever, but Tails, like, doesn't know that 100%. Like, Sonic could have just gone rogue, and I'm just saying, Tails jumps to illegal activity a little bit quick, right? Like breaking into a secret government facility. Just throwing that out there. Once Tails reaches Prison Island, he notices that Amy is down below, having somehow crossed the ocean as well, and Eggman is, like, holding her hostage for some reason, even though she doesn't do anything in this game, so he really shouldn't be bothering. Tails steps in, teaches Dr. Eggman a lesson, and then we get to go save Sonic. Tails does all the work, and of course Amy gets the credit because she somehow slips into the prison and saves Sonic with a key card she just so happens to have found. I also wonder, maybe there was supposed to be some kind of Amy level here that, like, shows how she got that. But probably not, because I've never heard anything about that. He also tries to get Sonic to marry him again, but Sonic is all like, marriage? No way! Elsewhere before this, Knuckles, Rouge, and Eggman fight over the Master Emerald, and Knuckles shatters it yet again, except Chaos doesn't show up because reasons. Also because I think he ascended to the afterlife after Sonic Adventure 1? Yeah, whatever. I don't know, continuity doesn't matter. Sonic runs through the forest nearby and finds that same mysterious stranger from earlier, learning that this is Shadow the Hedgehog, and the two get into an altercation. Since Shadow is the coolest, however, the island begins to explode, so Team Sonic and Team Eggman end up escaping before they all go boom. Unrelated to this situation, Knuckles the Echidna is dicking around in an area that would make Jack Skellington cry tears of joy. Moving on. Like, literally, he's just fucking around. Like, he's just not doing it. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do my own shit. He reminds me of Piccolo a little bit from Dragon Ball. Like, he kind of just does his own thing for a while. Back in the plot, Eggman isn't fucking around anymore and blows up half the moon, demanding the Earth surrender in 24 hours or he's going to devastate the planet. Or actually, I seem to have made a mistake. He pisses on the moon. That was a funny reference, right? I mean, I can never look at this scene the same way again because of all the comments I see all over the place about this. Back with Knuckles, he's down in the mines and has no idea that Judgment Day is upon the Earth. And he's still not really participating in the plot until he just pops out of a manhole and now he's back with Tails and Amy. Tails then drives away and almost, like, runs Knuckles over, though, because he's gotta go find the president so they can track where Eggman is. After tracing Eggman's location, Team Sonic heads a few miles out of San Francisco to find the PNG Pyramids, where Knuckles has to find a couple keys so they can enter the base, and Eggman decides to throw the Egg Golem at the team to see if that would stop them. But you know, if Sonic and friends can tear through metal just by spinning really fast, I don't really know why he thought rock would stop them, because, like, metal is just better rock. So it doesn't work, and we steal a spaceship heading into the great unknown, though it's known for Sonic because he's been to space several times at this point. I figured now would be a good time to discuss the other half of the coin Dark story up to this point. Eggman raids a secret government base looking for a thing called Project Shadow, and housed within it is, shocker, Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow is really angry that he was woken up from his nap and decides, hey, we're gonna destroy the world, me and you. So Shadow goes, we're going to find the Chaos Emeralds and then use them on the space colony Ark. And Eggman goes,
Yosh.
Rouge also gets involved with the villains here, and she is actually a government spy, which is something I totally forgot about. I don't know how I forgot that, considering it was in Sonic X as well. But she tags along with all of them to the Ark because she wants to find out what all of these things are. You know, Project Shadow, the Ark, the Eclipse Cannon, all that junk. It's funny, if you only played the hero side, I feel like you still kind of get the full story aside from some of the character moments between Shadow, Rouge, and Eggman, which are nice. And they show some, like, interesting character development bubbling under the surface for Shadow. But you can kind of just extrapolate that, like, they're doing bad shit and we need to stop them. Back with Sonic and friends, Knuckles decides to forsake humanity to go hunt for the Master Emerald Shards in space in a level that I do like, but it is also a little bit too big for the original radar, so it ends up being a little annoying. I also think it's hilarious that there's literally going to be a cannon that's going to destroy the Earth in 24 hours, and Knuckles is like, no, I gotta find my rocks first, bro. Like, what are you gonna do if you find the rocks but the Earth gets fucking toasted? Like, where are you gonna go? Sonic and Tails, with Amy just kind of standing there in the background, decide that they're gonna use a fake Chaos Emerald that Tails created to try and sabotage the Eclipse Cannon. So Sonic takes that and runs off to go slam dunk it in there. While Sonic is running, though, Dr. Eggman kidnaps Amy Rose and holds her at gunpoint with a super scope. Holy shit. So Sonic runs back, and then Tails accidentally lets it slip that that's not a real Chaos Emerald. So, Eggman does what we've all been waiting for and shoots Sonic into space to die. Thankfully, since Tails basically just invented an 8th Chaos Emerald by mistake, Sonic is able to use Chaos Control to get back to the Ark and go give Shadow a stern talking to. This ends the hero story, but before that, in the Dark story, we have things like Shadow and Rouge escaping Prison Island together, just like barely before it explodes, so you again see some of that Shadow character development. On the Ark, we hear more about Shadow's past, because this is where he grew up, this is where his best friend Maria lived before she was like, viciously murdered by the government. Once you finish the final confrontation with both sides of the story, we unlock the last story, where instead of the Eclipse Cannon firing, we have the Space Colony Ark on a collision course with the Earth, which is most likely an extinction-level event, and the dinosaurs are laughing at us from beyond the grave. Turns out that Gerald Robotnik, seeing as his granddaughter was murdered in cold blood in front of him, decided that humanity shouldn't get to exist anymore if they're gonna be that shitty about things. So he programmed the Ark to just get rid of the Earth. That wasn't its original purpose. We'll find out about that in another game later on. But for now, that's where we're at. Seeing that nobody really wants the Earth to be destroyed, Sonic, Tails, Eggman, Rouge, Knuckles, and Amy, who is there, team up and they go through the final level, which you play as like every character in like an order. This is the part where I said you probably want to have the air necklace for Knuckles or else you're going to be absolutely miserable. And then we finally get to the chamber where there is a weird, like, recreation of the Master Emerald Shrine. And also, one of those dinosaurs laughing at us from beyond the grave teleports in with Chaos Control, and we finally meet the prototype of the ultimate life form, the Bio Lizard. Or basically, like, the original Shadow. This was, like, what Gerald was making before he decided for, like a more compact design in the form of Shadow the Hedgehog instead of Shadow the big lizard that you can't take anywhere. Imagine trying to walk that thing into, like, an airport. Like, it's not gonna happen, even if he's, like, an emotional support lizard. Back in the other room, Shadow is reminiscing about Maria, and Amy just so happens to say the right combination of words that makes Shadow remember that Maria did not want him to punish humanity. She wanted him to give them a chance to be happy. So shedding a single tear, he rushes out to help Sonic and Knuckles, and Shadow takes on his older brother in a fight to the death. I love this boss fight. This boss fight is really, really good. I love the music. I just love what's at stake here. I like how it's not, like, explicitly, like, a timed fight, like we're gonna see in a second, but it feels like there's, like, a lot going on, and if you don't get this done as fast as possible, like, there's very bad implications for the Earth, because there are. After Shadow defeats his older brother, he teleports away, and we assume that he's just gone for good, but the Ark is crashing even faster now. And that's because the Bio Lizard used Chaos Control to teleport outside of the Ark and merge with it to pull it onto its crash course even faster. Using the power of the Emerald, Sonic and Shadow finally team up for the good of humanity, turn into their super forms, and this is where we live and learn. That was a corny bit that I didn't even write in the script. I don't know where I was going with it. Let's just get to the end. The final battle, whew, Like, I love Sonic Adventure 1's final battle. It's really amazing with Open Your Heart playing. But seeing Shadow go through the character development and then being out here, like, actually working in tandem with Sonic really well, oh, God, it's so good. Like, I don't know how much better the writing gets from this point on, because we've already seen some other stuff, like, Sonic Battle chronologically comes after this and has really, really good writing, but I think Sonic Adventure 2 might have some of the best writing in the entire franchise, and that's why I think a movie adaptation would probably work really well. As either Super Sonic or Super Shadow, you need to dash through space and hit the Bio-Lizard in his giant glowing weak spots, which you should probably see a doctor about. That seems like you probably let it get out of hand. And as per usual, I try to let Shadow get the final hit because this is really the conclusion of his story, if you look at it the right way. Sonic and Shadow, rushing towards the Bio-Lizard, end up putting their Chaos Control together and using the largest amount of Chaos Control anyone's ever seen to send the Ark back up into the night sky where it belongs, saving the Earth, but unfortunately completely exhausting Shadow and leaving him completely vulnerable as he falls back to the Earth, never to be seen again. This is a really emotional moment. Like, having Sonic come back to the Ark, no Shadow in sight, everyone kind of standing around together, being happy that they saved the Earth, but at the cost of someone who gave everything they had to complete the mission of their departed friend. And honestly, it's a little bit of a tearjerker, especially Sonic on the way out with that sayonara, like, it's great. Like, I really applaud Sonic Team for pulling off such, like, an emotional moment in a game about a funny blue hedgehog. And I have even more respect for them knowing that Shadow was not originally supposed to come back in every other game after this. But he does, because he was super popular, and they figured it would be bad if they didn't bring him back. So, Shadow doesn't die here, it's just his character development that dies here. And I'm only partially joking about that. I feel like Amnesia Shadow is not as good as what we got in Adventure 2. I think if he had stayed around and kept developing from there, he could have been, like... He's already one of the better characters in the series, but I think he could have gotten a lot better. You know, then by 06, he kind of, like, has a soft reboot of sorts of his own. It's really messy after this, you know, we're getting to the territory where things are gonna start going downhill real fast. But now that Shadow's dead, we can talk about the Chow Garden, but I think I'm gonna save that for next week because I've rambled at you for a little bit too long already. If you're hyped for the Chow Garden, make sure down below to let me know, tell me some of your stories about Chow, or just your experiences with SA2 in general. I would really like to hear how this game affected you, what you think about it, if you think it's the best. Literally anything. Talk about SA2 down below, join in other conversations with other people, and I will see you next week for the conclusion of this Sonic Adventure 2 adventure. That was a little bit redundant. I'm sorry. I'm singing the Song of the Gods. You made it, everybody! We're at the end of yet another video. Thank you so much for watching all this way, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did make it this far, let me know down below, because now you're in the secret club. And that's cool. If you like this video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more Sonic and other things that aren't Sonic, because I do a lot of things. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters, who are Chaotic Mercenary, Brady Hilkemeyer, Mimic, Noah Wizbios, Danny Lee Dauber, Dax, Minty, Tyler Tech Guy, Jeremy, Crystal, PM13, Chaosk, Dork in a Hat, Mega Traffic Cone, and on Patreon, Noah Wizbios again, and John the Real Wawaluigi. Thank you all so much for supporting, it really means a lot. And if you have any interest in becoming a supporter yourself, you can check out the join button below the video, or check out the card at the top of the video for Patreon stuff. You get extra videos to look at, and you get a nice little extra channel on my Discord where I pop in and talk about things and post special behind-the-scenes stuff, and it's a fun time. We just have talks in there and stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.